All right, so here's the 7-1 homework. Again, it's all about seeing where we see our factored values. Are they in the numerator? Are they in the denominator? And is there any overlap? So in number 2, it was pre-factored. I see that x minus 3 is in my numerator and denominator. So that tells me I'm going to have a point of exclusion when x equals 3. I reduce my fraction. And now I can start talking about where I see a 0. Since I have x plus 2 in the denominator, I know I've got a 0 at negative 2 comma 0. Since I've got x minus 2 and x minus 1 in my denominator, those get me my vertical asymptotes at x equals 2 and x equals 1. Finally, I take this reduced fraction, I substitute in 3, and that's going to get me the y-coordinate of my point of exclusion. It's one of the few times that we're actually going to give a point as an answer. Number 4, I factor the denominator. X squared plus 4 is not factorable anymore. Whether you want to rewrite x squared minus 5 in terms of x plus root 5 and x minus root 5, that's up to you. Since I have no variables in my numerator, I do not have any zeros, I'm not going to have any points of exclusion. I simply have my 2 vertical asymptotes at x equals plus or minus root 5. Number 6, I factor my numerator. I see that x minus 3 is in my numerator and my denominator, so that's going to tell me that I've got a point of exclusion when x equals 3. If I substitute 3 into my reduced function, I get my y-coordinate for my point of exclusion. And because there was nothing left over in my denominator, I know that I do not have any vertical asymptotes. Number 8, the numerator is factorable. The denominator I got from plugging into my calculator. I notice that no groups match between my numerator and my denominator, so that means I will not have any point of exclusions. Anything that comes out of my denominator and doesn't overlap with my numerator gets me my vertical asymptotes. Remember to write them as x equals negative 4, x equals negative 1, x equals 2. And then anything that comes out of my numerator and doesn't overlap with my denominator gets me my zeros. Number 10, similar to the last one, my numerator is factorable by hand. My denominator, I need to use my calculator. I see that x minus 2 and x minus 2 is in my numerator and my denominator, getting me a point of exclusion. What's left over from my numerator gets me my zeros. What's left over from my denominator gets me my vertical asymptotes. And then if I substitute 2 into my reduced fraction, I'll get my y-coordinate for my point of exclusion. Now, in multiple choice 1, what can be tricky is finding the actual function, and it's all going to come down to what our point of exclusion is. Because I have a 0 at negative 3 comma 0, I know that I've got x plus 3 in the numerator and nowhere else. Because 4 is the x-coordinate of my point of exclusion, I know that I've got x minus 4 in my numerator and x minus 4 in my denominator. I can multiply out my numerator to determine that it's not a, b, or e, but I've got this missing group in my denominator. So I look at what's left, and I factor the 2 denominators. Once they're factored, I see what's left over because I know that I could cancel the x minus 4s, and then if I substitute in that point of exclusion, that value of 4, to what's left over, from C I get 7/12, from D I get 7/20, so D is my choice. All right, we're going to keep working with this stuff the rest of the chapter. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in class. See you soon.